Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome as the SRF Weekend Warriors rolls into Long Beach. And wow, this iconic street circuit, such a fan favourite, although it can be a little treacherous to drive around. What are we going to see tonight? Well, you know full well from this series, it's going to be wheel-to-wheel action, drama and excitement, with a big grid to boot as well. I am Tim Cox, got Lewis Araya in the virtual production trailer. As always, joined by Charles Buschel. Charles, that's your homeland this week. And, well, we were talking about this before the show, weren't we? If we can make it through the first lap with no big incident, I think everyone will feel it's a success, really, because all it takes at the street circuit is one tiny mistake, and that's it. You're in the wall, and well, if it happens near the front, which is your big grid as always in the series, it's going to be treacherous for everyone coming through.
Yeah, you're right, Tim. Yeah, this is, don't let the palm trees and the blue skies fool you. For a fair few of these drivers, I think it's not going to be a Sunday drive. This is a very, very tight and difficult track. And so I think patience is the key word for today, especially in certain sections of the track, especially around the fountain. That section after the fountain is just going to be one lane. Just be patient and wait for the track to open up a bit, and you'll get your chance to make passes.
That you will do indeed. We've got qualifying just getting underway. Of course, the usual 40-minute race preceding that one. And who's going to come out on top? Let's just say, refresh our memories with the standing Spec 1 led by Felix Samaus. 459 points, opening up a bit of a gap there over Marco Pinero, currently in second. Dantas third, Les Believer fourth. It's due to Castro, who I believe we have with us tonight, currently lying in fifth. Then it's Renders, Gaspers, and Darlow Wood, and Ferenz Arabian. He's running well currently in qualifying at the moment, rounding out your top 10 there. Cross into Spec 2, and it's Alan McCain, who's really dominated this championship so far this season. Really long overdue, I think. And I think he'll admit that as well. Gibson currently in second, his fellow countryman. Well, making up an all-British top three with Paul Jackson third. He's not too far behind Gibson, and it's tight with Warbolt in fourth as well. Then it's Berry, Cloper, Justice Grammer, Montgomery, and Jeff Rooker rounding out your top 10. Into Masters, well, Kurt Nunes leading the way and opening up a distinctive margin at the top. Currently second in qualifying as things stand at the moment, 40 points adrift. Is Chris Murakami in second, and Dan Bradshaw in third. And those two I don't believe we have with us tonight. So that means that, well, barring complete catastrophe, Kurt Nunez's leads are only going to grow even more so at the top. Bradwell, he's fourth, Marnie fifth, then it's Brewster, Rice, Mitchell, Kern, and Cantor to round out the top 10 in Masters. Well, let's take a little look at qualifying. Whereas Marco Pinera leading the way there, and a healthy margin, Charles, of near as damn it, 4/10.
Yeah, that's a nice gap. It's hard to stretch 3/10 out of this on the pole. Usually we see these where it's like, you've basically 1 second covering, half the field. So to pull 3/10 out, or actually 4/10 out, is very, very nicely done.
Got a few drivers on outlaps looking to go again one more time for the close-up qualifying. We have got some 7 minutes and change left here. There is Gaspers hoping for a strong result. I thought he was turning straight into the wall there, but no, of course, that's where the pit lane entry is. And that's going to be, something we haven't mentioned about, we didn't even talk about before we went live, is that pit lane entry. It's treacherous here, isn't it, at Long Beach?
I was going to mention it, and not just the entry, but the exit also. So the entry is almost 90-degree chicane, right and left, to try and get lined up to get on the pit road. And then as you come out, you're basically, the drivers that are still on track they're basically 1 lane narrower than what they would normally be able to run, because you cross over to the right, it's a slowdown. If you come out and you cut that corner too early, it's a black flag. So you have to be very, very careful on your pits and watching other people as they're exiting pits.
And also, another factor to the Venn danger diagram, you haven't mentioned this, it's just praying to the racing gods that someone doesn't lock up and end up carrying on at turn 1, and through no fault of anyone's necessarily, you end up getting taken out. It's so treacherous, but then also it's the cars on the track as well. I mean, so easy. I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. I'm sure you have, as most of our viewers, picking up a slowdown from just approaching that bit too far across that line into the pit lane exit, and we just try to open up turn 1.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically, as a matter of fact, we talk about that. I've got a nice story involving a Lamborghini and a tire barrier that I'll tell you later. But yeah, if you take the slowdown, you have to recognize you can't bleed that time off instantly. You almost have to wait till you're out of the fountain before you can start working off that slowdown, because otherwise you're more likely than not to just be ran over. There's just no room to make moves. It's almost easier, as you were talking about the lock up and drive through. It's almost better than trying to make that corner, because that tire barrier just juts out and really creates a funnel effect going out of turn 1 down to the fountain with the wall on the inside encroaching and the tire barrier on the outside basically cutting off a lane of traffic. So it's
we saw a brilliant example of that, of course, in IMSA here last weekend on the Acuras, going for a move down into turn 1 and caught that exact tyre barrier, as you said, just jutting out, and that was race ending for them. But that ultimately ended the whole race, because it was a couple of laps from the end, and well, time was going to run out by the time they managed to clear it. So that ended the proceedings there. So it shows it happens in real life, doesn't it, as well?
It absolutely does. Yeah, it locked up going down and basically cut off 2/3 of the track and almost took another BMW out with them. So yeah, it's very difficult, and that's one of those spots that we're have to pay attention to, as long as there's more than one car there, because as soon as one car blocks, you're basically cutting off the outside of that racing line. It just makes it so difficult to try and get through.
I do feel for our producer Lewis, he's like having to be like a sniper trying to take out a load of ducks that are rubber ducks that are at sea, trying to identify which one he's trying to pinpoint and where the action is. We'll do our best to bring you the best coverage we can and cover all the incidents here. A lot more left now, coming in towards the last 3 minutes. Panero currently on provisional pole with that 128.949. A real sizable margin there. In fact, he's actually grown it since we last mentioned it over Gaspers by half a second. That is like night and day, especially these two that are normally so evenly matched. Ren's Arabian picked up a win earlier on in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors at Tsukuba. If you weren't with us, where were you? Make sure you join us next time out. That's on about 2 hours before this broadcast starts every Sunday night here on Apex Racing TV. Dantas, he's starting from the second rank. McCain, strong qualifying from him. Our leader in Spec 2, 8th overall. And a bit of a newcomer, John Payne. He's heading up Masters with our championship leader being Kurt Nunes. All the way down in 17th, third in class right now in qualifying, but still a chance to get a lap or two more in here at Long Beach. This we just watched, Yang Chi Lin. I mean, someone always used to seeing start well in top 6, I'd say. Just struggled a little bit with qualifying recently, hasn't he? I mean, he took a little bit of time away from the series, and I mean, just trying to find his groove. And this is the trouble, isn't it? When you take a bit of a break away, everyone who you're battling around, they get even better, so it makes it all the more harder.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got a friend of mine who seems like he's in every Apex league imaginable, and which is great. He's having fun driving all these cars, but it becomes more difficult to master a particular. Oops, a little spin there by Gradwell as he just kind of noses the ball. It becomes difficult to master something if you're driving multiple things with varying, downforce levels and grip levels. So maybe Lynn was just, he's out trying other things, and so kind of maybe is a detriment to his performance in the spec racer.
Yeah, big shout out to your teammate Paul Joseph Bliss and his. He's the Swiss Army knife, isn't he, of driving cars. And, yeah, like you say, he has fun, and that's just the main part of sim racing, just having a blast. And,
he is absolutely having a ball, and I call him. He is the literal definition of a wheelman. If you tell him I want you to drive this, he's driving. He's ready for it. So.
Oh yes. Oh yes, he's there straight away to the point and on it, and I know he might not necessarily be the fastest, and that's by his own admission, but he's there for you and it'll make it happen. See, it's kind of struggling qualifying. Let's believe that. Well done, 29th right now. Flavio Dollar, you can see in the screens there in the 145 machine. Another one just struggling in qualifying. Quite a few of our Spec 1 guys, the top series within the Weekend Warriors. Let's say struggling a bit, as Renders improves to 7th, and Darlow did go 10th before Renders just knocked him down one further into 11th. So Renders going 7th. I'm sure I just heard someone make a bit of a mistake at turn 1. Yep, there we go, there's the car, and there's the bonnet, carrying going, and then, wow. And Darlow clipping the car on the way through, so despite getting it over the line in time to go again, that's his lap in Valda, and that's him done and dusted, unless he's got lucky with the netcode gods down in Brazil and managed to escape any form of penalty, 4x or such like from that one. Panero is in. I mean, surely he's done enough there, Charles, at half a second odd to cover off that being pole position.
Yeah, I can't see anybody getting a half second. I mean, but you got obviously Gaspers, Arabian, Dantas. They are always the sharp end of these races. So if anybody can pull out a lap, it's them. But as we get closer, people get a lot less forgiving, not necessarily willing to give up a spot. So it just makes it that much more difficult, especially on a tight track like this.
Closing of qualifying. I'm going to mention to one of our sponsors for this series, Apex Racing Academy. The setups, track guides, data packs for road and oval racing. Also, coaching sessions and one-on-one sessions if you want to go faster in iRacing. Make sure you check those guys out. Well, definitely not going fast there is Andrea Fabini, the Swede. Great qualifying from him all the way up in 6th. Great to see him back in the sharp end and sort of move towards, around about sort of 12th to 15th place he's been qualifying regularly, so great to have him back at the sharp end of proceedings. Only just because, I mean, look at the time difference between himself, Renders, Alson, and McCain. Half a tenth separating those 4 places. And, well, that's just pretty much the story of the rest of the grid, really. There's fine margins left, right, and centre. Lots of places being separated by hundredths of a second, not tenths. Not even seconds, hundredths of a second. In fact, I think it's thousands in a couple of places as well. Well, just an average day in weekend warriors, isn't it, really?
It really is. You wouldn't expect anything less.
You wouldn't, Charles. You wouldn't indeed. And, well, here we go. Let's take you through your grid. Round 6 from Long Beach. It's Marco Pinero on pole with David Gaspers joining him on the front row. Row 2 sees Ferenz Arabian and Vandre Dantas alongside one another. Jason Green and Andrea Favini make up row 3, with row 4 being Thomas Renders and Steve Alson. Good qualifying there from Alson. Likewise for McCain and West. Behind them, the British row there for row 5, ran out your top 10. Of course, McCain top qualifier in Spec 2. Flavio Andala's got Yangshi Lin for company on row 6. Row 7 sees John Payne took qualifier in Masters. Great to have him at the sharp end. Alongside Megan Overstreet. To row 7 is Gradwell and Galloway. Row 8, Weisshuzel. Disappointing from him. Great qualifying last time out, but down in 17th from row 9 with Adam Bradshaw. Kurt Nunes, your championship leader in Masters, starts on row 10 with Bradford Gould. There's Jim Brewster, who was winning the Masters earlier on in the Formula Ford race. Can he achieve in the SRF? He shares row 11 with Stephen Mitchell. Row 12, Brad Cathcart lines up alongside Jason Perry, with row 13 being Scarlett and Hugh Simpkins. Jeff Gabeson's got Philip Berry for company, with row 15 being Daniel Wood and Les Pleaver. Disappointing qualifying from those two. What can they do coming through the field? There's Chris Montgomery and Ian Gibson on row 6. Row 16 even. Row 17 being Jackson and Walbolt. 19, Kern and Swig. Sorry, that's 18 even. 19's Bertoni and Gianni Longin. Jose Santiago has Michelle Figlini for your last complete row. And your top 40, row 20, Tom Laurie didn't get a time in. Well, neither did our last 5 there. He starts from the back all the way in 41st, but the only way is up, as they say. Or at least the song goes. And, well, everyone just take it to the grid. In fact, Laurie has not made the grid. Maybe let's just start from the pits. That could be a wise move, potentially, here. There's the Porsche 911 safety car, just pulls us away. Drivers all lined up along Seaside Way. Heads towards Firestone Corner. Whew. Here we go, Charles. Deep breath, I think.
Definitely.
Breathe in as well, I think, going through this second. It's going to be interesting to see what the drivers do. Do they elect to go single file here through the final hairpin? It could be wise. They're not going to do it. Of course they are. This is the weekend as we're talking about. It's getting close already. Between a few of them, a bit of bumping, bit of banging, but they're all going to make it through, are they? Yes, they have.
They go 3 wide to the hairpin.
Never say never, Charles. So what time? Yes, we agreed. We are go from Long Beach, and Pinero does not hang around. Look at that battle from third between Dantas and Arabian. Drivers left at Dantas, and I tell you what, Gaspers is feeling the pressure. He just covers it off to the inside here. As we come down into turn 1, we're 3 wide there. Alson on the outside. Can he get it turned in? Yes, he does. But he sweeps through. That does a 2-for-1 deal into turn 1 as we head through the fountain. A few drivers having to check up, make their way through. And I tell you, Scarley's not had a best start. He's dropped 4 places. Cathcart's down 5. But Tony's at 4, so people making moves early on. Steve Alson would have started that move. Moving on 2 places. Great from him. Also, McCain still holding on to that lead in Spec 2. John Payne still holding on to the lead in Masters. They're still where they started as we just head through to Kate Turn, down Pine Avenue towards Seaside Way for the first time. And this is going to present the first overtaking opportunity here, Charles. But I mean, they're all playing it a little bit safer. Well, as it says, it's not going too wide.
Right. Yep. That's how that works. I didn't see anybody having the toe back to the pits. Nobody's really off the pace. Oh, there's one slide into that tire barrier. Can't see who that was. Is that
That was, I believe
Galloway?
that was, yeah, I think that was Galloway. Just not having the best of times there. As there's more contact there. It's running wide. If I catch who that was, I think it might have been Bradshaw, Stephen Mitchell potentially. Bradshaw's into bits, so there's one victor. I'd say Michelle Viglini headed to the pits as well, so caught up in. Yeah, caught up in a bit of contact, says Elson. I tell you what, invigorated by that move on that opening lap on turn 1. Goes for it again. That's Andrea Favini ticked off the list. Next up, well, it's the top 4. We said, Charles, they'll work together, they'll get away. But Pinero is the only one who's got away. 2 seconds already. We've only done what lap, Charles? And 2 seconds, well, 2.2 in fact, make it is the advantage.
Yeah, that's we've seen this before. We don't see that very often where we get one car leave, but generally when we do, the field has a way of reeling them back in a lot of times. We see 3 wide going into turn 1. So dangerous there.
So Scarlett there in the middle.
Up.
I tell you what, I think, Charles, bar that bit of a check-up, which you're always going to get. I mean, the perennial accordion effect. It's just the building's in the way there. I mean, everyone just about, didn't they? Scarlett looked a little bit dicey through those curves, but just about making it through. So they will head out now onto lap 3 of the race. Lynn and McCain side by side. I tell you what, McCain's looking a bit bruised and battered just in the background there. Favini, he'll lose out to Renders. If Renders can make this stick all the way around the outside, Favini's going to squeeze down low. He's going to keep his nose in here, onto the brakes, and just about close. I tell you what, again, Renders, what a move around the outside, but Favini gave him a lot of space as he nearly loses it through the fountain.
Yeah, he gave him a lot of room. It was really clean racing. And then, but late on the brakes, trying to hold that spot, just couldn't do it. It was a great move. Now, and we got a spin for Favini.
Oh, that's going for Favini after that start that he made. That's, well, a trip to the pits. His front bonnet gone, but I mean, yeah, I tell you what, last time around, 2 seconds, Pinero was quicker than Dantas. 4.2 seconds after 3 laps. This man, the Italian, is on fire. It's going to take something big to stop him from winning this at this rate. Just how much can he win it by? I mean, this is unheard of. It's so normally evenly matched that
It really is.
Sometimes you'll see the breakaway pack up front. About 4, 5, maybe 6 of them. Maybe open this sort of advantage by lap 5. Not a driver by themselves on lap 4 as...
Yeah, let's check this out. I kind of mentioned your release. I wanted to see if maybe we'll get some fuel savings down here in the turn. I mean, that seems like that's pretty late. I don't think he's really doing a whole lot of fuel saving through there. So maybe that's the reason. Maybe the guys behind are trying to save a little bit of fuel, doing a little lift and coast down off the front straight. Just to try to make that pit stop a little quicker. However, they're losing oodles of time to the leader.
It's now 5 seconds, in fact, and I completely concur with you, Charles. That did not sound like any fuel saving was going on, and if you're going to do it around Long Beach, turn 1 is the prime candidate to get that fuel saving done. And what sort of response are the guys behind going to do? I think this is the challenging one for Arabian. I mean, he's had a good start. He's made up a place up into second. Gasper's dropping to is what's enabled that. That will happen off the camera. Gasper's has dropped behind Arabian and Dantas. But, I mean, how do you respond to that? I mean, because like you say, you've seen that time grow. If it grows any more, they're going to end up in trouble. And Pinero's pace is just going to overcome and all of this fuel saving these guys may have done. But that's if they're even doing it. I'd be interested to listen in to want to see what Arabian's doing, and certainly Dantas behind. It's a bit of a little thing. So they come across the line. There's Dantas behind us. He's definitely closing.
Yeah, you're usually going to start braking around the 400 board, so 400 meters from the corner. So let's see.
Doesn't sound like he is.
It doesn't sound like it. I think he maybe 100 meters of lift. Not really a lot, but the lap time they finally picked up the pace. I was going to say earlier that the first 2 or 3 laps, Panera was a second and a half per lap faster. But I think now these guys have realized, hey, we can't. This is not going to work. So we might want to do something about this. So I think they decided we might want to forego the fuel saving and just get out there and race some race cars.
Something has happened to Alan McKay because he is not in 8th or thereabouts, and he's not leading. Well, he's not even inside the top 5 or 6. I'm trying to have a quick scan down. Daniel Wood, he's had a great start. He's up 10. Petoni up 17. So they've made it. Jose Santiago from back of the grid. He's up 11. Where is McCain? He's still running, but yeah, he's been into the pits.
Yeah, 37.
Already, Charles.
Yep. See, did he come in on the pits maybe as a very, very early fuel stop? Because I don't think they need a lot of fuel. This track, you can do fuel saving strat. Oh no, he just hit somebody in the rear there.
I think that was Thomas Renders he made contact with. I mean,
that was not a lot though.
No, I mean that's where he picked.
Yeah.
It didn't look much, but I'd tell you what, it's really inflicted a lot of damage. So he's clearly come in, taking this fast repair. But at 3 laps, it'll be tight, but he might be able to get this one home. Might. It's a big might.
It is a big might. It's a 40-minute race, and I always go back when we look at these. I always go back to one of the Apex drivers, and that would be Mr. Jamie Fleet, who can make a GT car go 40 minutes on a tank of fuel. So I'm just kind of wondering how much fuel can be saved if they could make it without stopping.
Oh, this is getting a bit closer.
Yeah.
Petoni, wow. Saw the big gap on the inside of merge. Oh, we've lost one. That was a 377 of Hugh Simpkins. And well, I was amazed we went out more casualties to the 49, and Les Believer there just running into the wall. Les having a great start. Poor qualifying from the Cheshire driver. Managed to pick up 12 places up into 18th, although how long he held Petoni and Wood behind, that's another thing as we see exactly how it unfolded for Hugh Simpkins. Carrying a bit of damage already, wasn't it, Charles? But when he got 3 wide, I mean, this is scary stuff.
Yeah, it really is. It's just,
contact on the outside with Wood. Wood has just come into the pit, so I think Wood must have picked up a bit of damage there, the Mexican, and hence why he's in, but he will definitely get home. I think the longest I've ever seen people run these cars is into the 37-minute mark, so stopping inside the first 3 minutes, which McCain was well outside of.
That's Montgomery with a couple cars, 3 cars missing bonnets.
The car in front of them has got no bonnet either. So they've obviously had a big... I mean, Reming's Racing, they've had to come together somewhere, somehow. And, well, they're all going to be struggling for a bit of top lines.
Oh, yes, they are.
I think Jackson.
I was going to say, I think Jackson's got the advantage because he can kind of tuck in the car in front, tuck behind the car in front, and kind of cover up the nose and the non-bonnet that's on the front there. So yeah, I think he's got the advantage, but it's there's only really two or three, what I would say, or at least 2 straightaways, right? There's a couple of short straights as we're seeing here coming down Seaside. I was going to go back to Cleva's little scrape of the wall going on to Seaside. Actually, I think it's better if you kind of hit that concrete wall flat. I think that tire barrier does more damage to your car because you hit it at a sharper angle, and that goes back to my Lamborghini. I've meatballed off the tire wall there several times, and didn't think I hit it very hard, but I think you can get away with those scrapes on the concrete up to a certain point because you're almost hitting them with the side of the car and not with the corners.
That's a really good point, that, isn't it? And that side-on contact is not going to affect your steering, your suspension geometry, but a real big thud. But even so, you know, you've got to be practically drifting through the corner, and even then, those tyre barriers do sort of like end a bit further into the corner than what you would catch them. There they are, those
Yep.
the danger tyre barrier. I think that's what rename that one. It's a bit further up through the field. This battle for 7 playing out right now. With Renders, we're looking back from. That's Bobby West behind him. He's had a good start in 2 places. Lynn's up 3. You can just see him behind him. He has got a bit of bow damage, has Lynn, to his car. And behind him is Flavio and Darlo. Really trying to make progress. So Renders started where currently is in 7th place. That's for the other classes. Well, John Payne has lost the lead of Masters. Granwell has made it past, and Fly Schusel has just also made it past him. He's had a good start after a bit of a poor qualifying by his own standards, and he's up into first in class, first in Spec 2, as we look from the fountain. A lovely view there. Although, that's Montgomery into the pits.
Yeah, coming in to get his fast repaired, back out on track.
That
Should be well within the fuel window.
So why are we seeing a replay? Occasionally it does flag it up.
Oh, he missed the corner.
And he should jump from the pits.
Interesting.
Maybe technical hardware failure, potentially. I'm not too sure.
That is kind of an interesting thing that happened just then.
I think Lynn just clipped the wall then.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry, I missed it.
No, I think it was only it was another side-on scrape coming onto Seaside Way that you were just alluding to. I mean, he's already got damage to the front right. Let's just marry it up with the front left a bit as well. But no, jeez, left-hand side's looking pretty clean. So maybe not. Although a bit of a tag from behind from Fabio Darlo there.
Yeah, it's that hairpin is so tricky because it only takes a little checkup, and then as you can see, you get the front end damage. And we'll say this, that tire barriers is rough, and we talked about that in that corner. You don't want to hit the inside wall because it doesn't take much, and it's not a scrape because you're almost hitting a point. And it's almost like you're getting a puncture on the right side. So it's just, it's a very, very light tap, but it for whatever reason, it causes tons of damage.
So that was West making his way past Renders. Meanwhile, oh no, John Payne after that brilliant qualifying top in Masters has carried on in turn 1, going to wait for the pack to come through. This replay's going to explain exactly how it happened. Little bubble of his own, pretty much. Did he get a tap from behind? No, he just misses it, and Lex straight on. As you said, Charles, it's far safer to do that.
Yeah, it's really easy, and that is the smart way to do it. Is not try and make that corner when you've missed your braking point, because that's when the real accidents happen. And so that was just a very smart move on Payne's part. Just go straight, slow the car down, loop it around, and continue on, and then try and make up some time.
Now, while we've been obviously witnessing great action out on track, just been monitoring what's been going up front. Elson has made his way past Gaspers, who I suppose that strong qualifying has fallen back through the field a little bit, dropped 3 places so far down to 5th. Elson is on an absolute flyer here. He's got Evandro Dantas just in front of him. Arabian has pulled away from these guys though. He's opened up a 1.6 second gap. And now I've got a back mark between them, so that gap could grow even further. However, Arabian's really it's checked out, however, not as much as Panera's. That gap's now 9 seconds. The lap times have come together a bit closer, but last time around, Arabian lost a whole second to Panero, so I mean,
I think that obviously I think there's a couple of guys that were close to his pace, but obviously we saw him qualify. Nobody was really at the pace he was at. So now it's just, excuse me. So now it's just okay. Well, we've thrown our strategy out the window. So now we're going to try to chase him down, and now we realize we don't have the speed to chase him. I think if we went back on board with Gaspers when he comes down the straight, he may be, based on his lap time, he may be sticking with the strategy of fuel saving because he's very good at it. And we've talked with him before after racing. He said, "Yeah, it's just a fuel saving the first half of the race, and then we do the racing at the end." So I'd be interested to see if he's lifting and coasting.
I'll tell you what, someone who isn't fuel saving at all, and is definitely racing, is Elson ahead of him. Getting a great view of this. Elson's on the inside of Dan Barrows. He's already ahead before they reach main point.
Yep.
There's not a lot of fuel saving, if any, going on there.
I don't think so either.
Just struggling for a bit of pace here today. But are they? Obviously, it's just that Marco Panero is in a complete and utter league of his own. I mean, track temperatures, they're on the spiciest side at 43 degrees Celsius, which is around about 104 Fahrenheit. So definitely not, or maybe, I think it's actually 108, apologies. As our producers just mentioned, Panero is center at Monaco. Not wrong there at all, Lewis, as the gap's pretty much out to nearest down in 10 seconds.
I think we're looking for reasons why he is dominating this race, and I think it's just because he's faster than everyone else. And I think this is what it comes down to. I think we saw him in qualifying, had a really strong qualifying on pole, and has just got the pace, and he's just going to check out, and barring any major catastrophe, he's just gonna cruise to a win here. Which
Look
is
at that
odd.
consistency as well there.
Yeah.
130.4, 0.7, 0.5, 0.6, 0.3. Those are just affected by maybe a bit of traffic. I mean, he has lapped currently everyone up unto and including Alan McCain in 31st. So you just catch a glimpse of occasionally in the background, though. That's the gap growing even further as McCain drops away. This is where it starts to get tricky, I think, Charles, because yes, he'll pick some of them off where they're going to pit before he does, but then equally, it's going to come in little battles like he's got ahead. How does he handle that? I mean, but this is the beauty. It's, well, there you go, 10.5 seconds is now the gap. He can, I know you love your multi-class racing as much as me.
Yeah.
You can afford to lose time. It doesn't matter if you lose a bit of time lapping these guys, although first one gets out of the way. But that's Gary Waldbolt there. And I know it is always the perennial thing of, everyone just tends to let the leader through a bit easier than they do, people in third, fourth, fifth, etc.
Right.
But you lose all this time.
Yeah, you can afford to be, like I said, you can afford to be patient and wait for a straight so you can make a pass. You will have a lot of people, the back markers that are getting lapped, and some of them will be nice to you and kind of let you go. Some of them won't. But what you have to, obviously, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away, right? So you can afford to lose a little bit because all the people that are chasing you have got to clear that traffic off. So you might lose a half second here, but you might gain it somewhere else that you don't even realize.
It's Battani all over the back of Les Pleaver right now. Fly Shooters had a bit of an incident and tried to flick it around. I think he's collected one of the cars in front of him as well. I think that was Gradwell he might have made contact with, who was the leader in Masters. Kurt Nunes has been promoted that, but he didn't pit. But here comes Battani on Pleaver. The run down to turn one, side by side, and I think Battani's going to get this, although Pleaver just keeping his car alongside. And wow, that was brave. Braver than I would have been.
Yeah, I wonder if we go back and look at this. I wonder if one of these cars was going to the pits and just got caught up. If it was, or just a spin out of the. Nope, just too hard on the throttle coming out of the corner. Just looped it around.
There, Bradwell had his own incident where he was trying to get out ahead and cross the pit lane, and then by no fault of his own, just caught him on the way through.
Yeah, I think maybe Gradwell had a little help. Maybe lost the rear and kind of checked up, and the car behind him maybe hit him, sent him off to the right, and then there was just a car there. Not really anything you could do about it.
Gradwell's had a really slow stop, 17 seconds compared to everyone else. Even McCain, who stopped way before him, they run about the 10-11 second mark. So definitely a bit of a struggle as we ride the ball with Flavio and Darlo. That is Lynn. Gaspers is in, Charles. So any confirmation on the fuel saving that might have been happening off camera, definitely not going on as he stopped at the 21-minute mark. We've got about 21.5 minutes and we've got 18.5 minutes remaining here from Long Beach. There's also in is a Les Pleaver as well. So with Andalo, that's Lynn, Renders and Wes currently heading up this group. And interesting, as much as Wes got ahead, he hasn't really pulled away from Renders at all.
Which is kind of what you would expect with this. I think Panero is just the exception that validates the rule, right? So I think this is what we would normally expect to see. You'd see a car make a couple of passes, get out to the front of the pack, and then just drag the pack along behind them.
It's close battles plenty. Favini and Gaspers have swapped around, although Favini had already been. But Favini, apologies, hasn't been into the pits yet. So Gaspers is the highest car, although he's just got past him again. So Gaspers is 19th, the highest position car that has currently stopped. Overall, in terms of Bradshaw, he stops on lap 1, so I think he's going to have to stop again. That's by being 6th in class right now and 22nd overall in Masters. As suspect to my Suzel. So that was just popping in.
Lynn.
That was Lynn.
Yep.
Dantas also in 2 as well previously, so break those guys. I haven't really mentioned him since he made those moves. Steve Alson up into 3rd. That's an amazing result for the Brit. I'm really outperforming here at Long Beach.
Yeah, he's having a great race.
There he is. As we cut to him, just sliding across the curbing there, the right stripe curbing through the fountain, and always get a bit worried when you see someone doing that. Are they going to heap praise on them? You cut to them, and then they pin it.
Yeah, that corner is so much fun, and it's so difficult with those little bit of, I guess, not really rumble strips, but those little curbings on the inside. You try and cut as much of those as you can, but then it upsets the car, so you kind of have to let it settle before you can get back on the throttle. But when you get it right, man, it feels so good.
So it's a 4-way battle, now turned into a freeway as 17 have seen Mitchell there, just moved across the right. I wonder if he's had a bit of an issue because he's going quite slow compared to this chasing pack of Wes, Renders and Arndalo. And they're going to clear him. Well, easily are they going to clear him. This is going to play into the hands of Lynn, who was in this group but bailed 1 lap ago. And you see how much Renders is pushing there. Just getting this sliding, didn't he, on the exit, and just sort of light up the rears and dancing the car off the corner.
Yeah, he's just trying to get out of the way. So he knows he's off the pace a bit. He's just trying to facilitate making some clean passes by these front runners, so they can continue on with their race. So it's nicely done, just to try and not spoil this battle here.
Well, I didn't know if you heard that. Renders was definitely, there wasn't a strong lift and coast into the corner, but he just backed out the throttle to maintain that gap to West ahead of him. So clearly, I think maybe they're thinking from Renders of, okay, you feel like you're quicker, go on, you go ahead. I'm just going to sit behind you, maintain that gap, and going to save some fuel as that is Gradwell making his way past Wood, 25th overall. And Gradwell, of course, was leading in class, but had a really long stop. He dropped 7 seconds, but feeling that's going to cost him really, really dearly. In fact, there's actually no one else in front of him, with the exception of Bradshaw, who stopped on lap 1, of course, from Masters. Is yet to, they're all yet to stop. Got the words out eventually in the end there. And
yes.
Well, what can Gradwell do despite that deficit? I mean, he's got a nice bit of free air, and that's one of the things at least here. I mean, even for a big grid like we have got today, well, Tom Laurie did not make the start, so we've had 4 retirements since then, but we've still got a whopping 36 cars out on track.
Yeah, this is not a track you want a lot of cars on, but like I said, I think we've had a very clean race so far. We've had, obviously, we had our little line of cars that had damage, but for the most part, we haven't had that gigantic stack up scares everybody when they come to this track.
Here comes Bertoni up the inside. Move done on Kurt Nunes. Oh, no, sorry, apologies. Jason Perry even. That's Bertoni now up just to 28 places. Yet to stop, though. Nobody inside the top 13. Haven't stopped so far. We've got Jameson Payne and Cathcart all into the pace. I would gutted Payne had that bit of an incident because I think there was strong money on him taking that win in Masters here today as they're on board with Renders. And, wow, he's getting the corner there wrong and losing a bit of time to West. And now all of a sudden, as Andalo all over his gearbox and looking to go make a pass down into Firestone 10 at the end of Seaside Way. Or fuel saving, maybe. What do we know?
Yeah, who knows? I think that you can. I mean, obviously, that corner's a pretty good corner for making a move, but you have to kind of make the move early so you can get cleared, so you can open the entry back up. So you have to kind of get that move done and cleared early so you're back on the left side of the track before you go into the corner, into the parking lot area. So, yeah, maybe just thought, yeah, I'm not close enough. I'll just kind of ride behind and reset for the next straightaway, which is where we are now. He still managed to just hang in there.
Kurt Nunes in from the lead, 11th overall Masters. Taking a lead to a gap, 12.7 seconds now, the advantage Panera has built. The cars that are leading the pits so far, that is Vandrick Dantas in 11th. They came out with a sizable gap of, nearly 5 seconds to David Gasper's behind him, who's no slouch whatsoever. So, it's what Dantas has done. Has it been enough? I mean, looking at his last time, so lap time around, he equalled the lap time of Arabian, who's second, and he was 6 tenths faster than Elson, who was ultimately battling with. As all Darlo and Renders have made their way past West. As West had a bit of an issue, so our leader is in. Panero is in. I mean, where's he going to come out? That's going to be fascinating to see. There's Arabian. He does not pit in. Yes, he does. Elson keeps going again. So he's going to take the lead. I said that in a while. There's someone in the background there. I think that was Renders getting a bit squirrely. And West, of course, mentioned losing those places. That's not helped him whatsoever. An intriguing battle that's happening all the way down the field. In fact, West has come in, Renders in, Overstreet's in too. So it is going to be our top four in fact, because Bertoni's now 4th, yet to stop. Jason Perry, 18, so 6th place up, currently up 18. That's where we got that from. He is out as well. He's come out in front, just in front of Panero, who will lose that bit of time. So I'm just trying to remember what the gap was. I think was it 13 seconds when he came in?
It was 12 plus for sure.
12.7, that's what it was. It's just come to me, Charles. Thank you for jogging my memory. The gap after is 15 seconds.
Yeah,
that's the gap between Panera and Arabian. He's gained an additional nearly about 2.5 seconds in the pit stops just alone.
Yeah, I think Panero's one of those that really cuts his fuel very closely, and it's bit him. It hasn't bit him this season. Beat him, I think, a couple of times last season. So he always is one of those that he's gonna cut that fuel as tight as he can. But obviously, it's paid off. I don't necessarily know that he needs to do that today, but I'm sure he's got enough because, like I said, I think he's done a really good job of making sure that he always keeps enough in the tank for the end of the race this season. It was Elson and Green pitting.
And Darlow's kept going again. Bertoni has as well. Panero, obviously he's already pitted. Jason Perry into the pits. 2. Also yet to stop is Jim Brewster, currently lying in 8th. And Fabini 10th overall. And also Jenny Longin 17th. They are the only drivers yet to stop. Now, where is Arabian versus Elson? Elson's heading out of his pit stop, so pit box even. So that's going to be interesting, whether Arabian has done enough. Yes, he has, but I think he's only just come out. Yeah, only by a second ahead of Elson, so Elson definitely on fire. Oh, that's not what you want at all, is it, Steve Elson?
You know, he's got Brewster between him and Arabian. You know, suspect 2 car. So that's going to make it a little challenge for him to try and get back up so he can battle with Arabian for a little while longer.
Gasper's into the pits again, Charles.
Oh, wow.
It's really gone badly for the Germans. Started on the front row with, of course, and
I think he's. He may have had an incident. I'm not sure. I didn't see it, but it doesn't look like he's. Maybe he's done for the day.
Well, that's a real shame. And Darlow in from the lead now. Likewise is Bazzoni, so it's definitely the longest you can run it here. 32 minutes into the 40 minutes from Long Beach. There you go. Let's say Panero retakes the lead. So let's take a little look at see how this pans out. Although it's here we go. It's balanced out my end. That's all good. Oh no, he's lost it.
Yeah.
And he took Lynn with him.
He sure did. Oh wow! And that's what we were just talking about earlier. You want to cut those little curbings on the inside, but obviously he caught that just wrong, and it just kicked the rear end of his car out. Couldn't catch it into the tire barrier, and then bounced back out onto the track and collected Lynn, which is a really shame.
Does mean Nelson's on for a podium, still in third. That gap actually 5 seconds, of course, so it's that long pit exit, sorry. Who's catching me out here at Long Beach? So that gap has extended a bit further. However, Elson does have Green, who is no slouch. So 1 second behind him. 1.3 behind him as well is Dantas, and then we've got this little train here that was originally West, Renders, and then Darlow. They've all flipped around. It's lost a bit of time on his in-lap. Now it's Andalo, Renders, and West, the battle for 6th place. Looming large, however, only 1.3 seconds down the road. Up 9th is Bazzoni's up in Grove 28. Wouldn't put him past him. You can just see him lurking in the background. Oh, McCain, though, getting caught out and made contact. Oh, there's a big West in Renders gone.
No.
Bazzoni slowed up. Oh, no. Wow. Break out the black marker of doom. There's some more names cut off the list, cross off the list. Here we go. So this is from probably West's point of view. McCain keeping it far to the left as possible. Oh, turns it just unsighted. Oh no.
Yeah. You know, it just he obviously didn't know he was there, but that's just a tragic accident. Really sad to see that, because that was a really good battle we were watching, and then it was battle over.
Well, sit rep. Let's have take a bit of stock of what's happened here. So obviously Panero Elite at 18 seconds now. He's gone clear. Bar a big incident. He will win that. Oh, West is into the pits. It's done dusted for him. He was on for a strong result. Kurt Nunes 11th overall leads Masters. Weissschlusel leads Spec 2, as though Nunes just tapping the wall on the exit of one there, gets away with it. No damage to his car. And who else we got in the podium positions in Masters? It's Gradwell and Brewster. Strong results for those two. Gutting for Payne though after, well, although he's just made partial syndicates, although he's now 4.5, so, you know, 2 seconds behind Brewster to get himself on the podium. Never say never here at Long Beach. Spec 2, Weissschlusel 12 overall, leading, as we mentioned. Scarley, good drive for him. He's up 12 places into third team, second in class. But Daniel Wood up 13 places, third in class, 16th overall. So some really strong drives. Also mentioned to Jose Santiago, 219 machine. Only running 5th in class, but incredible 18. So some big results here for some of our drivers. Although some big names claimed and retired. Renders, McCain, Gaspers, Lynn, Berry, Montgomery, Galloway, and Faglini. We have all lost here today. The cruel mistress that is the street circuit of Long Beach. However, we have got a battle emerging, Charles, between Elson Green and Dantas all over that last place on the podium. Can Elson hold on? I mean, the pressure's going to be building in from here. He's on for one of his, if not his best ever result here in the weekend warriors. Green and Dantas are starting to close that gap and bring down their neck. He's taken, well, it's ebbing and flowing, but overall net gains, I'd say it's about a tenth that Green's taken out of Elson. This one could come down to the wire in a bit of a last lap lunge, although that was a clip, although it was suspension bouncing around. I thought Elson had clipped the wall on entry there.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be 2 laps to go as we get back to the line. Yeah, or somewhere. Yeah. No, it's probably going to be 3 for these guys, I think. So
yes,
anyway, but it's going to be. So Dantas is really putting the pressure on Green behind. So it's they've got to be smart about it and not fight, because obviously the more they fight for P4, P3 just gets a chance to stretch his gap and move out of the way. And I'm also watching. Andalo has got by, or Bertoni is now 5.2 behind. He's closed about 2 seconds over the last lap, obviously because of Andalo's damage to his car. So that might be a very close battle at the end also.
You say that, Bertoni was also one of the victims, Charles, and he doesn't have a bonnet. There you go.
Okay.
So that's really hampering his straight line speed. However, the Uruguayan, he's not fussed by that at all whatsoever. I'm not close anymore. I mean, it's going to be triple tough.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and he's up 30 spots, so it's like, he's still having a good day. He's made lots of passes on track, and he'll finish it off with half a car and call it day done, top 10, and go away probably pretty happy with it.
To be fair, Charles, if it was me,
Oh, no,
that's Favini into the back as well, and that's done and dusted for Payne after that epic qualifying.
Oh, that was sad to see. Yeah, just too wide in the corner, and he turned in way too late, and the car just slid into the tire barrier. Got moving again, but you're still right on the exit of the corner in the racing line. And then just nowhere to go from that point.
Right, so battles. What is happening on track? It's still got that. Those gaps shrinking for third. We've also got this battle for 14th overall between Jacobson and Gradwell. We've also got a battle on for 8th, freeway battle. Clever, he's up 22 places. Overstreet, he's up 5, and Perry at 14.
Yeah, Pleva just got past Overstreet, so I think he may have that battle taken care of. But Overstreet and Perry still behind. There's still a chance for things to happen. So,
wow, they would have taken white flag. Excuse me, man, white flag. So we've got 1 lap left remaining, and there is. Well, we're about to actually. Apologies.
Yeah.
Just calculated. It's going to be close. I tell you what, it's going to be very, very close to the line. But he's going to do it. We're going to go white flag. There it is. Barney's waving it. 21.5 seconds the gap, which is not bad on a. He's basically a third of a lap ahead of Arabian, pretty much. That's crazy. That is crazy. Cathcart and Favini are into the pits very late on for a second stop. Look back from Elson. Half a second now is Green. Can Elson hold on? That's the question. Although I think it's going to shrink to 4 temps come the end of the straight and into turn 1. Might even be 3 temps, Charles. Hold on tight, buckle on. This is exactly what Elson wants. Dantes up the inside. Can he get it stopped in time? Oh, he was close to those tyres, but he's got it done.
Oh, what a great shot from the back car. That was extremely tight through turn 1. That was a brave move by Dantas.
Hats on to our producer Lewis, getting the right camera angle and the right time to view that spectacle. Now, Dantas is only 3 tenths behind, but this is advantage for me towards Elson because he knows that Dantas and the Green are probably going to get into one another. This could actually lend it to his hand. The checker flag is out. Well, I mean, not that you need any confirmation of it, really. That man Panero's been on fire. Dalsas is past Elson. Elson's made a mistake.
Oh, no. Did he make a mistake on the exit of that corner?
Oh, it's all gone wrong. So Panero takes the checkered flag. Arabian's going to be in second. What has happened? And it's all gone wrong for Steve Elson. Because Dantas is going to take that third place borrow mistake out in the final corner. Although, I tell you what, Green's going to run him all the way to the line here. Well, at least give it a go. But it's not going to be enough. And Dantas will take third overall. And Elson's out. He's gone. Oh, no.
Oh, such a shame. Half a lap.
Not even sure it was that. Has promoted Nunes to the top 10. Let's take a look at the replay. So there he is in the foreground, the 56. This is where we cut away from them as well. Our producer Lewis is apologising. It's not.
He ran out of fuel.
Oh no! It's spluttering and coughing down Seaside Way.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, he hit it.
Oh,
that's frustration.
Yeah. I was about to say exactly. That's the perennial frustration. Stick it in the wall. I've had enough now. I don't even want to do the last few corners. That's even if he can make it. Oh, someone get that man a beer.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kurt Nunes, winner in Masters, now inside the top 10. Weisslusel wins Spec 2. Scarley second in Spec 2. Gradwell second in Masters. Wood is third in Spec 2. And who was third? Bruce, well spotted, Charles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that they all lined up for us.
That threw me a minute. So I was like, hold on a minute. No, he's not. There's something happened across the line. Either call up with it. There we go. There we go. Race results. So Marco Panero wins by a country mile. Dominated here today from Long Beach. Arabian second. Then it's Dantas in the end. Last lap drama. Elson out of fuel. Means the Brazilian, easily clutches third place. Green fourth. Then it's Andalo. Bertoni. How many places he? Well, Bertoni up 31. Plever up 23. Overstreet only 6. Have a word with yourself, Megan, in 8th there. Still a great drive from her. Jason Perry up 15 into 9th with Nunes up 9 himself overall to win in Masters. And then it's Weisslusel and Scarley, Gradwell, Jacobson, Wood, Brewster running out that podium, which you wisely spotted there, Charles. To come home 16th overall. Santiago, Jose Santiago, great drive from you. Up in 17th, up 22. You
Nice
Simpkins. It's a cracker drive from him. Someone who's needed a bit of the rubber green to go his way. You Simpkins into 18th. Then we have got Steve Elson in the end. Well, one lap down, classified 19th with Mitchell running at top 20. And then it's Bradshaw West. Oh, he was so unlucky as well after a great drive from the Brits. Longin 23rd, Cathcart 24th. Then we've got Gould from Beanie, Swig, Kern with Walbolt and Jackson to round out your top 30. And then Gibson, the last driver's finished one lap down. Payne, great qualifying from him, but just all went wrong in race. Could have won Masters as well. He finishes 32nd. 3 laps down, 5 laps down, and we're into the retirements here. We lost Thomas Renders back on lap 22. Completely 27 laps here. McCain lost him on lap 20. Gaspers likewise on lap 20. Then Lynn on lap 18. Berry on lap 10. Montgomery on lap 7, so was Mike Galloway. Michelle Vaglini, we lost on lap 4, and Tom Laurie did not make the start. Wow. Let's have a chat to some of our drivers. First up, let's kick things off with Ferenz Arabian. He's popped along for a bit of a chat with us. Couldn't make it 2 wins from 2 this evening, but I think all things considered, the pace of Marco Panero, it left us scratching our heads in qualifying, let alone race pace. From your perspective, I mean, a second must feel like a win here today, the pace that the Italian displayed.
Yeah, second was a great result. Unfortunately, my competitors hit the wall, but for his speed, qualifying, okay, he had a slow pace lap, a slow out lap, and a draft. Maybe that's possible. but he was keeping up during the race, and at best, I was getting point 0.1 behind him lap per lap. But our average was I was half a second off his pace.
It was some crazy space that he was absolutely spraying. I mean, so that's, half the thing is also about keeping out of the wall here. You managed to do that. Just talk us through lap traffic around here. It's not the easiest place when you're in multi-class, like IMSA or something like that, where you've got a big disparity between different classes. These cars, obviously, low-powered, evenly matched. Just talk us through trying to sieve your way through the traffic and keep yourself alive.
Yeah, we have much of a gentleman's agreement when we're coming from behind. So as long as you're staying out and as long as possible, you'll be getting lap traffic and not competitors. And that makes it a little easier to try and get by them where you have the long straight on the front straight and the back straight. There's like two small ones where you can kind of time a kind of over under, which is very helpful. So as long as my plan was stay out as long as possible and just get that lap traffic.
Nice, definitely. Well, congratulations on the second place. That's Ferenc Arabian finished second here today at Long Beach. Charles, I think we've just enough time to squeeze in Jim Brewster, who had a great drive for 5 places into 16th overall and third in Masters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jim.
it was a good day. Good day. I was just talking with her friends, and the temperature really went up, and I got caught. I made a couple wiggles going up to that last hairpin in the first 5 laps, and that really got your attention. And that's Kurt got away. Kurt is just doing a great job. I always refer to the big three as the Masters aliens, and they weren't here today, and he capitalized. I think he might be leading the points just from a combination of consistency and speed.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So we saw a lot of cars today. To be honest, I don't know if you were one of them or not. So did you have a pretty clean race for the most part?
Well, I try. That's since I have no speed, I try to work on staying on the black parts. And I actually admit it. I actually tapped one wall on the right side and one wall on the left side. Some 0X's, but I didn't. I don't think I did enough to mess up my aerodynamics. So I got away with a couple. I try not to do that. Yeah, this place it's a battleground. You know what? I'm going to give my good luck today. I listened to Dinner with Racers podcast on how they built this track. I don't know if you've seen their newest 3 episodes, or how they built this track, and it's an unbelievable process of what it takes to build this track.
Oh, I can only imagine that.
Yeah, look it up. Dinner with Racers. Anyway, we miss Stevie today. Stevie's playing with grandchildren, and we fought on without him here today. But I thank him and you guys. We have a great little society here.
Yeah, absolutely. We enjoy calling it as well. Congratulations, Jim.
You bet. Thank you much.
So Jim Brewster, they picked up third in Masters. As mentioned, 16th overall. Great drive from him. Some amazing drives up there, but it was all about just keeping out the walls, wasn't it, Charles, ultimately? I even said we had some great battles.
Yeah, that's just it. And it doesn't matter what car you bring here, and that's you're battling the track as much as you're battling your competition. So it's always an interesting race to watch, and this one was no exception.
Well, that's all we've got time for here today from Long Beach. Thanks very much for joining us, and well, congratulations, commiserations to some of the drivers. It was a drama-filled race, but did we expect anything less? And then the SRF Weekend Warriors week rolled into town. Well, we'll see you in a week's time. I've been Tim Cox with Charles Michelle and Lisa Raya. Thanks very much for joining us here at Apex Racing TV.